Have you ever felt like you're going through a season of waiting, challenges, or unexpected changes? It may not be a setback. It could be God's way of preparing you for something greater. Throughout the Bible, God has taken people through a process before elevating them to their purpose. Here are 5 signs that God is preparing you for something big. Number 1. You're facing unjust trials and hardships. Sometimes, God allows difficulties to shape and strengthen you. Look at Joseph in the book of Genesis, from chapter 37 to chapter 50. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and wrongly imprisoned. But all these hardships were preparing him to become Egypt's second in command, saving countless lives during a famine. Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." If you're experiencing unfair situations, rejection, or setbacks, remember, God may be positioning you for something greater than you can imagine. Number 2. You're in a season of waiting and obscurity. God often prepares His chosen ones in hidden places. Moses, in the book of Exodus, from chapter 2 to 4, spent 40 years in the wilderness as a shepherd before leading Israel out of Egypt. He probably felt forgotten, but God was refining him for a monumental task. If you feel like you're in a waiting period, don't be discouraged. God may be using this time to develop the patience, humility, and strength you'll need for your calling. Number 3. You're being given small responsibilities before bigger ones. Before God elevates you, He tests your faithfulness in small things. David, in the first book of Samuel, from chapter 16 to 17, was just a shepherd boy, tending to sheep in the fields, but that season prepared him to fight Goliath and eventually become king. In the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 10, it is written that whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. If you feel like you're stuck doing something insignificant, stay faithful. Your so-called small responsibilities might be preparing you for something far greater. Number 4. God is placing you in a strategic position. Sometimes God moves you into a certain place or position, not for your comfort, but for a bigger purpose. In the book of Esther, from chapter 2 to 7, we see that Esther was an orphan, who became queen, not by accident, but because God positioned her to save the Jewish people from destruction. If you find yourself in a new environment, job, or relationship that feels unfamiliar, ask yourself, could God have placed me here for a purpose I don't yet see? Number 5. You're going through a season of testing and spiritual growth. Before stepping into His ministry, Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness, fasting and facing the devil's temptations. This period of testing strengthened Him for what was ahead. James chapter 1, verses 2 to 3 reads as follows. "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. If you're experiencing spiritual warfare, intense challenges, or personal growth like never before, it could be a sign that God is preparing you for something big." God never wastes a season. If you're facing trials, waiting, handling small responsibilities, being repositioned, or experiencing spiritual growth, don't lose heart. These are signs that God is preparing you for something greater. Trust in His timing, stay faithful, and keep seeking Him. When the right time comes, you'll realize that everything you went through was necessary to equip you for your purpose. If this message encouraged you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share so others can also be blessed. Stay strong in faith, and remember, God is preparing you for something big.